grade A. Every time. Every time. Clickbait right there. Road trip! This makes me question Subaru's build quality. Like, what? Why would you twist them wires in a bundle like that? Like, that's how it was in the door. Anyways, I'm just taking this mirror with me because it's eventually going to need to go on that door, but it also is going to give me a paint color to match because I have to go on a road trip to get my B-pillar, and I'm taking my car because my truck needs rear brakes. It's running metal on metal now. The brakes that were on my truck, there are some sort of brand with it says Extreme something. They're drilled and slotted. I had to replace the fronts. The outside pads were brand new. The inside pads wore down to metal. Took them apart. The sliders were good. Everything was good in there. Just wore the back pads out. Now, the back rotors did the same thing. They're drilled and slotted. The outer pads have lots of life on them. The inner pads are down to metal. So, we're going back to regular. I don't need drilled and slotted. It's not like it's a race truck or something, right? We don't need that. So, I'm going to clean this mirror up so it has something to match our paint to. This is a 2-hour drive for me to go get the parts. I already paid for them 2 weeks ago, but because of work, I couldn't get there. So here we are now. I got to go get them. I got to swap. I'm probably going to swap everything in the door over, like the wiring harness and everything, over to these. The only thing I think would be able to stay is the door locks, the handles, which I'll probably switch the handles over because they're painted and I don't feel like painting that part. And the window regulators and stuff like that. But this one has the better speakers. I don't know what all else is in this door that might not be in that door, and just to eliminate, not having the right harness and stuff in it, I'll probably just swap this one over. It sounds like a pain in the butt, which it is, because that weather seal is a pain to get off. But we're going to do it. But I need to, before I even think about that, we're just going to use these for fitting purposes for now and everything. We need to get the damage on the car fixed. That's what we're doing, folks. So follow me as we go on a trip to Johnstown, to Stoystown Auto Wreckers, to go get my B-pillar that they couldn't cut last week because they needed 2 days to cut it. Yeah, it sucks. Anyways, here's what it is now. We got to go. I set this mirror on my counter for like 20 minutes, getting ready to leave. Hey! Why are you chewing my parts? Huh? You're a jerk! We're here at the paint store. The paint code on that car is in the passenger door jamb, and you see right there, maybe, color code NAC, which is Island Blue. I think that's what the paint code is. Anyways, brought the mirror because when you get paint, they're going to say, what variant? And at that point, you're going to go, I don't know. So I always bring a piece with me so we can look at the different variances. I'm glad that the cats chewed that up for me. Anyways, I'm going to go inside, get some paint, and then come back out, and we'll head to get the parts. Asking for a friend. Does that look like a $600 box to you? Because it is. God. I stocked up on a bunch of like clear coat and reducers and stuff like that I need to make sure I have whenever it comes time to do a job. So the paint itself was Island Blue. For a quart it was $108. So that's pretty cheap relatively. The clear coat was almost $150, a gallon of clear. Got two things of sealer. They're $68.95 a piece. Reducer, I got a gallon of that. That was $54. It all adds up. Undercoat, all kinds of stuff. So, all right, on to get the parts. I got to come back and get my paint done. It's not mixed yet. Oh, I forgot to mention there was no variance on that color, so I didn't need my mirror. But it's always better safe than sorry. It did take a different color sealer underneath. It's like a medium gray. So that's why I had to order. I had to get dark gray for the C10, and then I had to get the medium gray for that. So, all right, cue driving scene. I brought a Sawzall because I knew they was going to cut a huge section, and they did cut a huge section. So I had them cut a big old chunk off of it that I don't need. And my Sawzall just didn't do it, boys. Dude, these Subarus are built. Them rockers, there's some sections of it where it's 4 layers of steel, and it's thick steel. Yeah, it chewed my Sawzall blade right up. Wouldn't pinch welds, whatever. Yeah, it wouldn't get through the pinch weld. Crazy. So, yeah, there it goes to show you that you think, I mean, there are some cars that aren't that thick of steel and they're not very strong, but these things are actually built pretty strong. Crazy. And it fits in the caddy. Now it does. There's still a huge section in the back. Oh, well, we got her in here. We got her, boys. We got her. Yo, man, that thing looks good. Can I get a piece? Yeah, bro, I got you. Hold on a second. Got you. It's a tenderloin. Grade A. So this is actually off the same car as this. So I got both passenger doors and the B-pillar. So that also means that where the hinges are marked at, where they bolt on, should line up with this. Another thing that I had to have them cut is they had like 2 more feet off of that side. I'm like, I don't need all of this. I'm going to try to cut mine like right above the hinge line here. so I don't want to worry about removing and reapplying the VIN tag, and like I said, I just need a small section of this. I wish I could have just bought that plate, or you know what I mean, but it was. And I want to show you this. I told you these things are freaking strong. Okay, so here is the B pillar. Look how many layers of steel there are here. 4, 5 layers. Look how thick this layer is. So there's 5 layers of steel on the pillar itself. Pretty thick. Down here where I was trying to cut, well, this is where they chopped at. There's 1, 2, 3 layers right there. 1, 2, 3, 4. This side, I think you can see a lot more. Since they chopped it, there's not as many layers, but yeah, you can see they're pretty strongly made. I was trying to cut it over there on that side, and it just was not happening. Yeah, so I paid $350 for this cut, and I had, like, they gave me a whole bunch of it, but essentially I only needed about $75 worth of this. Anyways, I'll get back to you when I get into this. Well, guys, I'm glad I'm not working on the Honda right now, because I would be more angry than I already am. I'm not a very angry person, but whatever. Got my part today. Okay. This is the correct part. This is the correct part number. Direct from Honda. You've seen the Honda bag. Looks right, doesn't it? There's something missing. Right here. That's supposed to be drilled out, and there's supposed to be a metal barb on it, kind of like this aluminum fitting here that comes up out so you can connect a hose to it. It is not drilled out, and it doesn't have a barb on there to connect a hose. Now, I could take the one off of the fit, cut it, try to get that metal barb out, drill this, try to fit it in there. Really don't want to go that route. So I contacted them, and we're going to be sending this back. And this was delayed because it was something that was out of stock. So now I got it, and it's not correct. Honda, you're slipping. But I did get the top radiator hose. Look at this cute little thing. It's so tiny. Alright, so we out here. First, I want to cut the pillar on the car, because that one we're not using, so it's not going to matter how it turns out. But before we cut it off of there, I want to get some measurements. And by measurements, I'm saying I'm going to mark a spot on here, preferably up here, because we're going to try to cut it closer to this flat plate here. And then same with down here. I'll probably measure up from the tag, because I'm going to try to do this without, we're going to cut it like right here. I'm going to try to do this without removing this tag. Actually, I should probably do it a little further up than that. Even if this is bent, whenever I get the new piece up there, we can see what we need to bend back. But I'm going to try to stay close to, right there's a line on that. I'm going to try to stay close to that and then come across. And we're going to try to do it right around there. That leaves us, the minimal amount of spot welds we got to drill out. Mark a spot. We're going to measure to this hole from that spot. So when we put the new one on, we'll do the same measurement and make sure that this hole lines up. And we're going to do the same thing with down here for these. Mark a spot, measure from the hole. Looks like that might be adjustable in there. I don't know if it is or not. See, we're going to be splitting this, and you can see the edge on that. We'll be able to line that up perfectly with the paint marks on this to get this correctly, especially since it's cut away like that. We're only doing that outer layer. I don't know if that's the right way to go, but there's a second panel on the inside. We might have to do more than the outer layer. We might have to do a couple layers. There's like two layers here I can feel. Have to be careful when we're cutting, because you don't want to cut the whole way through an inner structure, and you also don't want to cut through wires. So we got wires here. So before we even get into cutting, I'm gonna have to get in here and remove all these wires and the seat belt, which I need to send out anyway. So no harm, no foul here. Just get the seat belt out. so we can chip it away, and also need to take this panel off, even though we're going to be doing cutting real close to there. So let's get this all stripped, and then we'll get into cutting. My tape measure dang got up and ran away. I'll be right back. Every time. All right, now here's the tricky part they don't tell you. I'm learning. I learn as I go on every one of these cars. You can see this outer layer is really thin, and then that's where the hinge bolts on. There's thicker metal back behind here, and this is just like a shell on the outside. Now, I believe some of the inner structure might be bent here, but as long as I get these hinges right, we should be okay. And there's a spot weld right here. And there's a spot weld somewhere here. Maybe there isn't a spot weld down here. Anyways, there's a spot weld up here on this. I will have to drill that one out. I can't find any more. I was looking around to see if there's any. Is it possibly maybe one right here? No. Can't get my grinding wheel back in here because then I'm going to start cutting through the inner structure, and I don't want to do that. As you can see, I just went through the outer layer there, and then I tapped it right there. You can see I tapped the inner structure right there, but I didn't go very deep. And then the same thing is down here. I think I cut through the outer shell right here, but I didn't want to go too deep because there is an inner structure in there. Now, when I get this off, if I did cut through some of the inner structure, I can weld it and grind it down, and we're going to be fine. It is going to be bent slightly right here. This corner is bent in. And as long as I don't mess that thing up when I take it off, we should be okay with that. I'm going to cut a large section off of that one. Like, we'll cut it up here and then down here. So, you know, we get through all of that. And also, it doesn't matter if we cut through the inner structure on that piece. It's going to be fine. Let's continue on. I don't know that these hinges, I mean, yes, it's bent here and it's bent here, but I don't know that it knocked the bolting surface. Like, it bent it right here behind it, but I don't know if it knocked them. This is definitely not out of place. This is where this is supposed to be. None of this is bent up here. It's bent from here down. So I probably could have got away with taking a lot less off, but it is what it is. So like I said, there's absolutely no damage on this inner structure, and I actually cut that pretty dang good. You see, I just nicked it just a little bit right there, and I nicked it just a little bit right there, and using the chisel method, I nicked it right there too. And that's, I mean, this is really thick steel. As you can see, that's like 1/8 inch, I think, and then there's 1/16 of an inch behind it. It might even be more than that. But this is very thin. This is just for visual purposes. Honestly, you could just like bang this out and then put it back on there if you wanted to go that route.
That's what she said.
Oh, no.
But we're not, and we're gonna, instead of doing fill welds, we're gonna be drilling out the back of that, and hopefully saving the front piece without mangling it up too bad. Hopefully. No promises. Which is gonna be really hard to do now that I look at this. So all of our mounting like, honestly, I don't have to worry about alignment at all. It just needs to fit on there because our bolt holes, this is what everything bolts into, even the door striker, everything, and none of that got damaged. We might have to do fill welds because that's going to be really hard to get rid of, like drill through all of this. And I might use my spot welder to put a couple spot welds on to hold it in place. But I think we're probably just going to do the same thing and then do fill welds. And especially since this is thicker steel, it's going to be really easy to do and weld to. See if I can get this to fit on there. Yeah, I really didn't need to cut as much as I did, but just because of all this. Well, I'm gonna have to take some of that stuff off, but I wanted to see if this would fit over it so we can get an idea. I think it will. All right, so that way I can know. And this is, being how thin this is gonna be real easy to shape as well. You see that? You just take a sander and it just sand it down. So we'll get close, which is right about, this is really close. If I get right here, and then there's a line right here, and that's where I cut on. If I just go down a little bit from that, and then I just got to make sure I keep these down on the sides here. But yeah, it's looking pretty dang good.
Somebody told you you'd never find yourself a lover, and now you're bitter, so you cut off your hair. And some of your friends, you're losing another again. Oh, wouldn't you know, you're feeling broke out, shattered into a million pieces. You got doubts, but there is someone for you out there. You'll find out in time. So don't you lose yourself when you're looking
This is gonna be a 2-day video. I'm coming back to this tomorrow. But yeah, how about her? Huh? So much more better. So much more better. Another thing you can do, you see how I got clamps on here? Another thing you can do to keep this in place while you're doing it, like I'm gonna do probably a couple tack welds, like see how they didn't put one here. Wait a minute, let me show you. See how they did one there, and then they didn't do one there. They did the same thing over here. Didn't put one right there, or right here. Oh, okay. Some of these places you can't, because there's a gap in the panel. Right here, there's a gap, and right here there's a gap. It's like ridged. You see how they did it up here? There's gaps in there. You can't spot weld where there's a gap. And okay, this side's the same way. But I'm going to use my spot welder to put a couple spot welds in this, and that'll help us get this thing lined up. But yeah, we'll trim this up tomorrow, and then we'll get to welding. Alright, we're welding this sucker on today. We're going to get that done. I did some research and looked up how much this outer shell piece is here. Because I was worried that, you know, I overpaid. I paid $350 for this piece. To get that outer shell, it's like a cosmetic cover basically to cover the reinforcements. It's $570 some from Subaru plus shipping. So I didn't do bad by doing this. Now, I would have probably did a lot better if I found somebody that had a parts car I could have cut it off of, but we didn't. So here's where we're at. And that wasn't that bad. Before we cut this, I need to take this off of here. We're already cleaned up on the surface in there where I need to weld at because of drilling and everything, and then sand in that spot. So I don't have to worry about sanding that anymore. Maybe... Oh, I don't know if I probably got to do over here a little bit. I need to get some weld-through primer on this. So I'm going to take this off, do that. Then I need to clean the back side of this and do the same thing so that has time to dry. But then I also need to clean the faces up. But we'll do the back first, and then we'll start trimming to get it to fit. Now, I know there's some precise way of getting the measurements, whatever. I just slowly ground it down until I made it perfectly a large gap that I cannot weld across. So down here, I did grind too much away. That's not end game right there. I still have all of that panel over there to cut a strip off of. So I'm gonna cut a strip, and I only need from like right here across here, and I might have enough room to even spot weld it in. so that it's like a backing plate anyway. So I'll show you once I get this thing all lined up here and in place. Right there, you can see, look at the gap. And plus, it's bent right there anyways. So what actually might be a better bet will be the back plate this top one, because I can definitely do that. We'll back plate the top one, and then we can slide it down in there and then push it in, and that'll actually pull this out a little bit and help everything line up better. So that's what we're gonna do. So I'll get back to you after I cut a slice out of this, and I ought to be able to do it without even doing, like, I need to cut down, across, and over to here. Just take a section of that. Now, it's not going to fit perfect, but it's going to fit good enough to get us to what we're doing. Actually, I might even take more of it, come across over here, just so we have a nice plate for backfilling that. Now, you're still going to have to be really careful there. I'm going to try to fill that with weld. If it's getting sketchy and I can't fill it with weld, then I'll at least get it spot welded in there really good, and then we'll do fiberglass reinforced filler to take that dip out.
Another late night on the payphone. You memorize my number like it's all you know. You told me you wouldn't call when you're lonely. I said I'd never pick up another one, but we know better. We're no good at not being together. 'Cause we got electric love, it's pulling me into the fight. You got a hold on me now, baby. We got electric love, it's taking me up even higher. You're running all through me now, baby. We got electric love. Thought it was just one time, but now you're coming over. All the lines that we drew in the sand are getting blurry. You told me you never fall for somebody. I said that I wasn't looking for anyone, but we know better. Somehow we always end up together, don't we? 'Cause we got electric love, it's pulling me into the fight. You got a hold on me now, baby. We got electric love, it's taking me up even higher. You're running all through me now, baby. Yeah, we got electric love. One more dance on the wire.
Part of me is actually really happy that my camera card filled up. I filled up a 128 gig card, and hold on a minute, turn the NFL game down here. I filled up a 128 gigabyte card doing this, and I'm kind of glad because my welds looked horrible. I always forget how bad of a welder I am. Well, let me rephrase that. I always forget how bad I am at welding sheet metal. Okay, sheet metal. I thought this was going to be easy, the fill welds, all that stuff. But this metal was so thin, it just wanted to blow holes through it. And I think a contributing factor to that was the weld through primer I'm using. And I mean, that works a lot better than the other stuff I've used, but still, it seems like every time I use weld through primer, I always have problems, and I clean the metal up really good, so it's it is what it is. So anyways, you know how they say grinder and paint makes me the welder I ain't. Well, okay, so while you guys weren't here, I finished it up and then went around it with oh, what is that? Here it is. Fiberglass strand filler, reinforcement filler. This is actually really good stuff right here. The strands are so small that like it's not hard to spread and stuff. Now it still doesn't spread as easy as regular or lightweight putty, but covered up all the welds. There were some holes too because I would weld and then sometimes it would blow through a hole and I messed with settings and it didn't matter if I turned it up, I was blowing holes through it. If I turned it down, I was blowing holes through it and it just, you know, whatever. But it is in now. It's part of the car and I can take the bolts out of it now. I just threw a couple bolts in it just to hold it in place and yeah, we should be good to go from here. I was going to end the video right here, but I kind of want to put this front lip on. So let's go ahead and do that, and then we'll end the video. Quite honestly, that is probably my most favorite front lip I've ever installed. It goes on so nicely. It comes with push pins. It comes with self-tappers. Nice self-tappers at that, not just like the regular, like they're nice for a bumper, like real coarse thread. And you put 4 of the pins in to hold it in place. They give you longer push pins. So you got to take these ones out. And well, here's the self-tappers that they give you as well. And there's already holes all through it. And you just go through and put self-tappers in every one of the holes after you put the pins in. And other than kind of winging out on the side here, I was trying to push it in and put the bolts in, but it just didn't want to go in. But besides that, it actually looks really, really good. I'm just being really particular. It kind of swung out on this side too, but all in all, man, that thing looks pretty awesome. What probably should have did was I started at the front and then worked out that way. Probably should have went ahead and I didn't want to put those in first because there's so much play and adjustment there on the sides. I didn't want to put those in first, but yeah, it probably would have fit tighter if I did that and then put all the self-tappers in around the sides, but whatever, regardless, this car, man, it looks good. So anyways, if you like this video and the dirt on my face, smash that like, what is that? Oh, is that my beard? Oh, it's my beard. Smash that like button, consider subscribing. I'm gonna shave right after this video. Hit that dislike button if your mom likes a dirty beard. And we'll see you on the next episode. Alright. You waiting for me? You're waiting for me. What? What? You want a snack? Is that what you want? You want a snacky snack? Yeah, I guess so. So are we ready for our snacks? Huh? You ready? You ready? Lots of excitement there. When Sully's hungry, he yells. When Sheldon's hungry, he eats air. Do air num-nums. There he goes. Do it. Get some chomp-chomps in. There was a couple. What are you doing? I'm trying to see your brother. You have to shut them in here because they're crazy. That and Stew Man will get their food. He always does circles. Before I open the pen. A couple circles. The other cat's got some food too. Do you guys want to say bye-bye? Where you at? Do you want to say bye-bye, Stewie? Stella? Hmm?